up about the astonishment that the group is experiencing as a result of what they're seeing in the front of the room. Do we automatically go straight into conversations about what's going on in the world, or do we start talking about what we see strange up in the front of the room? Or
I thought first they'd be able to talk about how it was strange that the TV was just randomly, how the podium with the TV for a head was randomly put into the room, and as soon as the TV comes on, it just displays how who won the election in 2016. So that then that would spark a conversation between the people about that.
Okay, I kind of like that. I'm kind of starting to feel that a little bit. What's wrong?
This is his.
What's wrong?
Oh, this is I need a longer charger.
Oh, it doesn't. Oh, a longer cord.
Yeah.
You don't reach.
Is that what is that right there? The hard drive or battery?
So battery.
Battery. But you need a longer cord, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay. At the end of the go and see if Dara has one. If not, then maybe we can come up with one for next time around. Is it both? Is it a jump like this on both ends?
It's 12.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, Dara will solve that one. If we don't have one, we'll get one. Okay, so they come into the room. The viewer does not know that that this is about a person having a dream.
Yeah.
In fact, if anything, they're probably thinking they're having a dream when they turn on the television and they see this thing playing out. They think they're having a dream. What is this? Now, after everyone comes in and has a seat, then the conversation starts up. Somebody said it just kicks into. Say it again.
They'd start talking about how it was so weird that the podium with the TV for a head was in the room, and what I thought the TV would just interrupt their conversation. And
stop there. So they start out by having a conversation about how strange it is that the podium with the television for a head is in the room. Now, something that's important to take in and to keep in your mind here, this is a perfect opportunity for us to help the public understand the power of the podium and the power of the media. Because the television is a symbol for media, the podium the podium represents the power and authority of the government, right? So somehow in the conversation or somehow in the delivery of helping them understand what is going on in this situation, in this scenario, we can introduce them to the concept of the power of the podium and the power in the media. However you do it, or however you say it, or however you bring that point forward, it's totally up to you how you word it. But the point is that that podium and that television head up at the front of the room represents the power in our society of media and the government's authority over our lives, right? That's the symbol in it. That's the symbolism in that surreal image that they're now viewing. So that's what we have to somehow figure out how we want to deliver that thought to the viewer. So now they come into the room. They turn and they look with astonishment at the podium and the television. They have a seat. They go into a conversation about how strange it is that this podium is up there with this television for a head. Now, before that television kicks on, something has to spark it. A conversation has to spark it. What conversation do we have here? Crystal, when you said you went back, and Cynthia, I might need your help to go back to that last sentence that he gave us. Give me that last sentence that you had again, the last statement you brought up.
Well, the last thing he said is, so start talking about the weirdness of the TV and the podium in the room. And then helping people understand what the podium and the TV represent as far as their power.
Okay, and then you were saying something specific to circumstance.
Well, you were, and then you mentioned about how, you know, you could talk about, like, the conversation could be how Donald Trump, you know, isn't it hard to believe that Donald Trump is president?
Yeah. So so instead of saying Donald Trump, you would say, isn't it hard to believe where we are today in this country? See what I'm saying? So now that becomes, you know, how did we get here? There's your question. There's your setup question there. Isn't it hard to believe where we are today in this country? And I wonder how we got here. You know, and then everybody in the room chirps up and says, yeah. And then the next thing you know, the television chirps up. Shh. And it says, this year 2016, low turnout. You know, the blacks only voted at this percent. And, you know, so in essence, it starts giving some of the statistical data that explains how we got where we ended up. And it was through complacency. People took it for granted it was going to be a blowout. They just didn't bother to vote. You know, now they had a high voter turnout, but nothing like what they had when Obama ran for president. So in other words, a whole lot more people came out and voted when Obama ran than when Hillary and Trump ran. And as a result, they had it was a lower turnout. If they had had a higher turnout, it would have made a bigger difference. Okay, so then once that is said and the television goes into its spiel, we don't have to do this today, but we do need to put up there what clips pop up whenever the question is presented on a specific topic.
So what clips are we going to use?
So in this one, when he says, go ahead.
Oh, never mind. I thought about something else. So.
Okay. When he says, isn't it a shame the circumstances in which we're in right now in this country? I wonder how we got here. And then as soon as he says that, then we then go to showing clips that are in relation to how we got here. It explains it. It's basically showing you all the media, all the clips that have been run that basically explains how we ended up waking up and Donald Trump was the president. Okay? Yeah.
So should we have somebody play an actor and be this crazy person who's making these laws, or?
No. My suggestion, I'm not saying you should and I'm not saying you shouldn't. What I'm saying is information is usually accepted when you're sick and the doctor gives you medicine to take. You're more likely to take the medicine if it tastes good. You see what I'm saying?
That's true.
Now, if you got 36% of the people out there who think you're lying as soon as you open up your mouth, then the best way to get them people to take your medicine that you're trying to deliver is to make the medicine palatable. So the first thing, you do not want to come out saying Donald Trump, Donald Trump, Donald Trump. What you want to do is you want to come out and say, we need to do more. We didn't do our jobs. We didn't stand up for what we knew was right. And as a result, we are where we are.
And I think that ties in beautifully as far as, like, you know, what the end goal of your product is going to be. It's not about highlighting, you know, his faults. It's about highlighting what you guys want, you know, social justice, highlighting these and not trying to draw attention to these other distractions that he unfolds.
By doing that, you basically remind people of what their responsibility is. Everybody's looking for someone to blame it on. Everybody wants to blame it on this person, and it's this person's fault, and you didn't do what you should have did. You know, it's not about that. It's about what didn't you do? What didn't I do that could have made this difference? So in our process, what we want to do is remind people of their own individual responsibilities. Because if things are going to change in the future, it's not going to change by blaming stuff on other people. It's going to change because we get active. We take a stand. We start to research what we can do to make things better. See what I'm saying? That's the message where complacency means everybody sits back and lets everybody else do it for them. Call to action means we get up out of our comfort zone and we start looking at ways we can change the system. That's what we want this video to be about. Is how do we remind people that change comes with hard work. But they have to first understand that this is about taking the medicine of learning that we were the ones who became complacent. We are the ones who created an environment conducive to this particular outcome. So then that first incident reveals that the reason that things turned out the way they were because people didn't get out and vote. But then the next thing that comes up is maybe one of the people in the classroom. Now here's where I still need y'all's help. What story do we tell next? And who tells that story? Because keep it in mind, we got people out there who are actors that are going to want to act in this film, right? We got to create opportunities for them. So the opportunities as I see it are in those individuals who are in that room who are going to basically be talking to each other and sharing their story with the person who's asleep. Right? So the person who's asleep is hearing all of this, and you're going to tell me a story about your strong feelings and emotions about people who are being sexually abused and taken advantage of in the workplace. How are you going to tell me that story? How are you going to introduce that? And then you got your podium and your television head up here waiting to give you the statistical data and the images that are making that case even stronger. So in other words, you know, you set it up. I won't tell anybody anything about what happened to me because I know all they're going to do is parade me in front of the media and make me feel like a fool, and then basically nothing's going to change. And then you're going to say, that's not so, that's not the way things work. Then the television up front goes, shh.
I think I've got an idea over here.
Yes.
You said you have something.
What I was finna say, I forgot what I was finna say.
I didn't even see your hand. I see their hands like this, so I'm thinking that's just, you know.
I forgot what I was finna say.
But if you have a thought, go ahead and chirp up so I can hear you.
I forgot what I was gonna say for real.
So basically, you making your argument, at that point, you're making that argument with the person sitting next to you, and the person who's the camera sitting behind you is just watching you play it out. But at some point, you're going to say, and the person next to you will say, no, it's not really like that. You know, that's complacency, right? The voice of the naysayer is the complacent
There
voice.
we
Go.
found it.
Okay.
So are y'all gonna give like visual, like actual pictures, or like online, or like how's that gonna work? You're gonna
We'll probably have to get video clips off of the internet to show those pieces. Like the part where we say, since everybody out there now, their talking point is, if it's true, then they should step aside. Go ahead.
And what about the research? Would y'all research some of this stuff?
All of it have to be researched. We can't
Yeah.
put nothing out there unless it's been proven.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I have an idea.
Okay.
So, if it's going to be like a TV, I think a TV would like help with the idea of how like not directly we can't say Trump, but like he's a personality.
Right.
So that would go
Yeah,
help with that.
because all these people that are being accused right now are personalities, and they believe that's their power, is that they are celebrity-like figures.
And if it's a personality, I think if y'all were trying to do hair or something like that, y'all should like switch up the different type of hairstyles and stuff like that.
Say what now?
Like switch up the different type of hairstyles, or like, you know, wigs or whatever.
But for what reason?
I don't know, maybe like for different people.
So you saying while they're talking,
Like before they started talking, like put up different scenes of different people with different hairstyles.
are y'all following?
You get what I'm saying?
I'm trying to understand. Yes.
And for like an ending, what I was thinking about
We'll
while,
come back to that.
Okay.
while y'all were talking was like, if the camera's the person,
Mm-hmm.
then we could have that person like walking up to the plug and unplugging it and just stopping it all. And
I
they're
like
like,
that. Do y'all like that? Instead of it just going shh and out, the person who's left somehow has to let the audience know that we have to take control, and the way we take control is we come up and unplug.
So like I was
We have to have some activism too, though, as part of that. So what you're saying?
I didn't say that clear enough.
Okay.
So you know how you got a scene for, what was your scene? Well, yeah.
How you got a
Like-
scene for what now?
Like you had different scenes about like rape and then the immigration and all that stuff. I feel like you should switch up to different type of hairstyle for like rape, immigration, and all that stuff. That's what I mean.
This is something we're gonna have to talk out,
I don't know.
because that's a creative.
I don't know.
No, it's creative symbolism, and I'm
Yeah.
just trying to see how to tie it in and make it make sense. Because right now we have a very serious piece that we're creating.
Yeah.
We don't want it to become funny, unless you want it to be funny.
Okay.
in the mix. You see what I'm getting at?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
So basically, where we left off is we're dealing with the issue of abuse. Okay? And you have to first start to talk to the person next to you, because this is building dialogue for your on-air personalities. You got a person sitting here who has a real passion about dealing with the issue of abuse, and they're sharing that information with the person next to them, with some of the people in the room going, yeah, you know, like that. And then basically this person is taking an opposition, a complacent role. They're basically saying, but it's not really like that. I mean, you know, you guys have rights, because, you know, they say the same thing about black people today. You know, why are you complaining? Because things are a lot better than they used to be, right? That's the argument. Okay, so why are you complaining? Because, you know, that stuff used to happen a long time ago. It doesn't happen anymore. See what I'm saying? And so, and then as soon as they say that, the podium chirps up and starts showing the clips of all the people who, like the woman who was on air and was crying because she was saying that this had happened to her when she was much younger, and this person, you saw some of that? And so then the people they go and talk to, what do you think about this? And they say, well, if it's true, they should step aside. If it's true. And it's like they had a playbook. You know, every last one of them, they put a mic in front of their face, they all said, if it is true, then they should step aside. You showed about 6 of them saying, if. And then the last one said, it is true, then they should step aside. And then the room looks at each other like, what was that? You know, kind of a deal. And then you chirp up and say, you know, that makes just about as much sense as what they've been doing to us, this ICE group. See what I'm saying? That's how you're